Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of My Nonsensical Senses. And it's bad that I have to actually look at the title of the stream to remember what I named the show. Today I'm joined by the one and only...
Pixel Push Entertainment, Sluggish Thinker in the chat, Will to everyone else. Hello there.
Bada bing, bada boom! There we go. I should have told you I was doing that. That was my bad.
Yeah, maybe. It sounded a little bit awkward, but at least it was funny.
Oh, yeah, hey, thanks. And I was supposed to put your picture on the queue. This is going great. Episode 2. Today we're doing Silent Hill Homecoming. All Bosses. New Game Plus Speedrun. World record. What? The world record? Yes. We're going to be doing an in-depth analysis on it.
No, I have quite a history with this game and with Silent Hill in general, so this should really be a should be a rewarding playthrough to see when you're not just doing what I do, which is walk into the corner and look very carefully at the flesh mold growing on the walls.
Yes, this is one of Will's favorite. I call him Will. This is one of Will's favorite games. So I think this is going to be. I'm excited. I'm very excited because I've never officially seen a full playthrough of this game, and now I get to see it in an hour and 15 minutes. He killed it. He killed it high key. He did. Oh, that's right. You somebody in the chat say, "Well, you spell color COLOUR the wrong
yes,
right?"
Yes, I do because I am in fact a Britbong.
A Britbong. For the rest of the video, we're going to be doing a bit of a British accent. We are for the whole video.
My ears hurt now. Please stop.
Oh, it's just I've been drinking way too much. It was past the point of no return here, so we're just going to keep going. Hey, cheers to this. Cheers.
No, with being Silent Hill. I have a history with this game and the whole Silent Hill franchise because it's not a very well received game because it's too action. People think it's too action heavy for a Silent Hill game, but I think it deserves a little bit more love.
You said it's too action heavy?
Well, people think it is, but I think it's underrated.
The only Silent Hill I've seen, Silent Hill 2. That's kind of known to be one of the best. Yeah,
I do think it is the best one, but Homecoming does a lot of things right.
What do you think is the best one?
The best one is Silent Hill 2 because it's very psychological. It sets tone for the rest of the franchise in a really interesting way. But Homecoming does a lot of things right. Doesn't do everything right, but it gets a lot of the atmosphere right and blends together the two storylines of the cult in 1 and 3.
Okay.
And the psychological element you see in 2, it blends it together very, very well.
So can you play this game without playing the first couple games, or you're just going to be fucking lost?
You can do that. You can, especially because it's strange because the characters don't carry over, but the themes do. So if you're willing to spend your disbelief a little bit on some of the themes, you can. You can play it as a newcomer to the franchise, although it isn't one I can recommend for a newcomer to the franchise.
Okay. So or you could be like me and suck at most games and just watch people play it.
Yeah, that's true. Although Silent Hill normally isn't that gameplay heavy with gameplay in...
I don't know, man. This button mashing, I don't know. I don't know.
I've seen you try and Scottish in Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight, yeah. I'm a good button.
Actually, it's pretty accurate.
Thank you. I'm alright. I'm alright. See? People, see what's happening? People are flattering me, and I don't know what to do. I'm blushing. I don't know what to say. Then it's not the alcohol.
I guess that's why you keep me around, huh?
That's exactly why I keep around. The validation. No.
No. But no, this game is quite rooty-tooty, point-and-shooty compared to most Silent Hill offerings, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just quite different, which I don't like very much. I quite liked it. It made the game feel quite unique. And so I do understand people's disappointment with it.
Is that this main character? I forgot. I don't remember his name, but you only play him. Alex Shepard. He's the only. He's the only. Like in this game, he's only the protagonist, right? Like what I mean to say, I'm too drunk to figure out the words. He's not in any other game.
He's unique to this game, yes.
Okay. independent title.
Indeed. This is quite disconnected from the story of the other Silent Hill games.
Okay, and I gotta say, I do appreciate the anime background for the splits that they chose for the speedrun. I really do.
For anyone
I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of not even attacking, it's just running past.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot of ignoring it.
Yeah.
But you get to see the cool enemy designs, because what you saw there was a nurse. And
Okay.
those appear throughout the franchise. They're quite like staples of the real staples of Silent Hill. Yeah, if you're not a fan of things like creepy mannequins or medical horror, this franchise is not for you. But it really
Medical
does have
horror.
some- Oh yeah, lots of creepy nurses and sharp implements and weird syringes.
I'll pass. Oh wait, I'm not passing. Never mind. We're watching the fucking game. Never mind. Never
You
mind.
shall not pass. Yeah, interestingly, this game is not actually. This game is barely even set in Silent Hill itself. It's set in a town called Shepherd's Glen.
Shepherd's Glen.
That copies many of its ideals, and the cult that is infesting Silent Hill has taken a foothold in Shepherd's Glen.
Okay. So is this game pretty cutscene heavy? Because I know that the earlier Silent Hill weren't, but this is like what, the 4th or 5th one in the series?
This is the 6th one, I think.
The 6th one?
Yeah, because there was the main series 1, 2, 3. There was The Room, which was number 4, also made by Team Silent. Yeah, this is number 6 because Origins is number 5.
Okay.
It goes 1, 2, 3, The Room, Origins, then this one, Homecoming, then Shattered Memories, and then Downpour.
And are they pretty gameplay heavy? You're talking to somebody who's not, you're the expert here, okay?
Yeah. Silent Hill 2 and Shattered Memories are very story-based, very puzzle-based.
Okay.
And very, very little to no actions. Like Silent Hill Shattered Memories doesn't even have a combat system.
Really?
But yeah. But 1 and 3, especially 3, are a bit more action-heavy, and this is a step forward in the action again. Where this is probably the most action-based Silent Hill, which is why I picked it, because I thought it'd be more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Rather than a load of cutscenes.
Cutscenes and just slowly walking past fucking enemies.
And especially if everyone's listening to us talking about it rather than listening to the character's speech, it becomes
Yes.
yeah. It's easier to follow into Silent Hill 2, which is all about the character of James, who's the protagonist, and what he thinks and what he realizes and what he feels.
Oh.
You get to see a bit more stuff in this one.
All right. And you have a Silent Hill, not the plug in the middle of the fucking stream video, but you're making a Silent Hill video soon, correct?
I'm making 2 of them.
2 of them.
Yes. Well, there's one that is based on Dead by Daylight in particular, talking about the implications of Silent Hill with regards to Dead by Daylight. Another one is talking about the role of Pyramid Head as an enemy.
The death by author, right?
Yes, and the death of the author with regards to Masahiro Ito, the guy who made the first 4 Silent Hill games, and what he thinks about Pyramid Head. I'm disagreeing with him and talking about why I disagree.
I remember we talked about this a bit on stream before. We were talking about how you believe that after an author is done with whatever series, or perhaps he actually does die, or whatever the case may be, the material is just kind of given and left to anybody else who wants to expand on the universe.
Well, it's more if it's open to it being interpreted on its own without the author's external commentary about it. Because if it really mattered that much, they'd have put it in the main work to be analysed as part of it, rather than like adding bits in later on, which may detract from the meaning. It gives power back to the reader, rather than letting the writer be the god of their own work.
And then I said to that, I think it's a shame because you can't say, oh well. I want to say, oh well, only the good works from the fans are considered, are considered to be canon or canonical, whatever, and then the bad works aren't. But with that theory, that's not how that works. It's that everything could just be expanded onto everybody's leisure.
Well, it's more about interpretation than expanding the story, because then you get the question of like so like a fan fiction, some fan fictions contradict the existing canon, and some add to it and build on it. And that's quite a different thing.
Exactly.
Because then it doesn't necessarily contradict what the author is saying, but it does it offers alternative explanations. So, like to use an example of Silent Hill, Pyramid Head is a monster in Silent Hill 2 that is specifically modelled on one character's interpretation of his own guilt. And Masahiro Ito, the guy who made Silent Hill, has quite a big problem with Pyramid Head being used in games that aren't Silent Hill 2 because he thinks it's very specific to that person. And he said so on Twitter a few years ago. I disagree with that quite strongly. Doesn't mean that I think he's an idiot or that he didn't make something beautiful, because he did. But this is just an alternative interpretation of the character, which I'm going to defend in the video.
Okay, I think that's very noble of you.
Just to say,
you're like a creative writing knight.
Yeah, well, it's like he believes X, I believe Y, and just because he's the author doesn't mean that he's necessarily
correct.
That his word is God, and that we can't disagree with him.
Yeah, and
there isn't really a correct here because it is an ultimate interpretation, but there isn't an objective truth.
Strange to be back here again.
I will defend what I believe.
And I know that we're partially having the same kind of conversation from the last stream, but just because of the sake of the video, because then I went on to say how.
Hello.
Although I think it is very noble, I don't like how, because if I was the creator of Pyramid Head, let's say, right, I'd want his legacy and how I wanted his story to go as the original creator to be protected in a way. So I wouldn't want him to be continued or however the case may be. Or if I wrote a book, any book, and then somebody said, oh, well, you know what, I kind of want to continue it. I as an author would be, okay, well, sorry, but I wrote the story and it ended this way. So no matter how you're interpreting it, interpret it all you want, but my writing is my writing. This is my story, and you could take it as it is. That's. No, say that again.
I get that. I do. I'm just using the logic of if you really cared about it that much, why not just write it in the material rather than go on Twitter 10 years after you finished it to then defend where you're standing? That would be my answer to that. Like, sure, if you want to continue your story, sure, continue it. Don't finish it and then come back later saying, oh, actually, I meant this, that, and the other, because you've let your story into the wild now.
Yeah. 10 years fucking later.
Like you've done your job as the writer to tell the story. It is now the reader's job and their duty and their pleasure to interpret it how they like.
Yeah, I can't so much devil's advocate that part, because if I did create something as popular as let's say, Pyramid Head, right? I feel like me personally, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. I would be very intricate in everything about the character. The character would be my baby. If I wrote a story and it got huge, that story would be, my world. Just like Tolkien. That was his fucking world. That's why I don't see a lot of popular fan fictions. People do take that material. What the fuck is this guy doing?
I think he's trying to clip through the wall. Because I haven't seen this speedrun, but
oh.
He did that earlier when he was trying to get to the basement to basically pass through the level. He used this to clip through the door of the closet, and is now trying to clip through the wall to get over the gate.
Oh shit! Look at that.
Yeah, this is a fairly old game. I think it's 2005, but I can't be certain. I will check when it was made. But this is fairly common.
I believe this game was released on the 360. I agree, Ryan, but I could see Will's POV. Yeah, that kind of topic is a very 50-50 thing. I don't feel like many people are leaning towards one side or the other in those regards.
No, and I'm not here to invalidate what anyone else says. I'm just here to defend what I think is correct and what I think makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of the fucking world, is that everybody has their own opinions and different takes on things. So if everybody had the same take, then I mean, hey, it would be a pretty boring world.
Indeed,
it's also Yeah, and it's also important to do what we're doing right now, which is actually discussing it civilly instead of fucking, trying to kill each other.
Having an internet bitch face about it.
Yeah, exactly. Internet bitch fit. I like that.
No, what's happening here, I think, is because this game was in 2008, so it's
so the 360.
Yeah, well, it was on 360. It was on the 360, the PlayStation 3, and on PC.
Okay.
So this was because this is one of the ones made by an American studio, so it was not under the control of Team Silent under Masahiro Ito.
Huh.
So this was one of the kind of adaptation Silent Hills that was more Western in its horror style, and results in it having quite a different feel from the main games that a lot of fans don't particularly like. I don't mind them personally. I don't like Origins, but this one's a pretty good one.
Now, what parts of how many Silent Hill games are not made from Team Silent, if you know offhand?
Well, all of them are the first 4 made by Team Silent, which are 1, 2, 3, and The Room. But all the ones after that were not made by Team Silent because they were disbanded after 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do we want a brief history of Silent Hill's production?
Go,
because I can give you that if you like.
Go for the brief history, and then if we see something fucking crazy, we'll try and figure out what the fuck they're doing.
Absolutely.
Or chat can help us figure out what the fuck you're doing too.
We can weave it in. We can weave it in as and when.
Of course.
Because first 4 Silent Hill games were made in-house by Team Silent, which were a group within Konami who basically rejected all other projects and told basically just fuck off over here and make a horror game. And they did such a good job on it.
Fuck off over here and make a horror game.
Yeah, which sounds kind of like heaven for me actually, but frankly, it went very well, and they made a wonderful, wonderful game. Well, and they made 3 sequels to it, including one, The Room, that was kind of made at the same time as Silent Hill 3, which was very messy and made quite different from the others, which was still a lot of fun.
So it was all both of those games were Team Silent, but it was just kind of going on at the same time.
Yeah, they made 3 and The Room at the same time.
Okay.
And to the point that The Room doesn't feel like a Silent Hill game sometimes, but it's got its own unique charms that I'm a big fan of. But then after that, Konami decided that they weren't going to bother with that anymore, and decided to outsource any future Silent Hill games to American developers. Basically saying, you have our license, now make our game for us.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, and that resulted in Origins and Homecoming being more action-oriented, feeling like the Resident Evil games that were made at the same time, very much shoot into a horror of zombies and hope you survive. And then they made Shattered Memories, which was the opposite, which was completely story-heavy and no action at all.
Okay.
And then they made Downpour, which was kind of a step back to the Homecoming era, but I don't think it was as good as any of the ones like that before.
But it had the action of this game?
It didn't have as much or as good, but it was the same tone.
Okay.
And there was also speculation of a new Silent Hill game being brought together by Team Silent, being right now.
So they're coming back.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Revival of Gods.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Reconstitution. But because of course, is anyone in chat aware of PT?
PT, did you say?
Yes, PT. The playable teaser.
Yes, PT.
Yeah,
my PS4 is worth a considerable amount of money because I still have PT loaded on it. I just hope that back home where it is, my brother didn't fucking delete it or something to make space for like Persona 5 or something. You know what I mean? I'd flip out.
If he did, we send him a horse's head in a box or something.
Oh my god. Yeah. I'd be very upset. I don't know what I'd do. Revival of Gods, Joe. Pekamomo, Revival of Gods, indeed.
Hell yeah. No, Pete was a trailer for a future Silent Hill game called Silent Hills. It was going to be made with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro.
But that's what Death Stranding turned into?
Well, it was. Well, they're going to work with Hideo Kojima, but he split from Konami and made his own company. So that's why Death Stranding came.
I want to comment on Death Stranding real quick, if you don't mind.
No, knock yourself out.
So, from the people who know me before I started streaming, the first trailer of Death Stranding came out, there was this overwhelming amount of fucking hype for this game, and I didn't understand it. It was a confusing-ass trailer, and everybody was trying to pick it apart, and I'm sitting there like, there's nothing to pick apart. There's a baby on a beach with a bunch of fucking demonic whale gods. I don't even know, right? It's just, and I was very frustrated at that. And then they released more info about it, and as more info came about Death Stranding, yeah, black baby goo, exactly, Pegamamo. And as more info came out on it, I was like, this is good. This is not going to be as good as people think it is. People have been hyping this game up for a very large amount of time, largely because Kojima split off, made his own company. So people are expecting a fucking masterpiece. And then they got Death Stranding for what it is. And in my opinion, it's not a very great game. At all. I don't like it, personally. I'm sure some people do, and for those people, congratulations. I'm glad that it lived up to the hype that you wanted from that game. However, I think that number of people is very, very small.
It was like No Man's Sky, except they didn't actually lie to the people they were selling the game to.
Yeah, basically. It was just all disappointment. Instead of lies.
I've never played it myself, so my mind's open for it to be good, but I've not heard amazing things about it.
No.
And especially given that it could have been a new Silent Hill game, it's a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close. I don't even know what kind of fucking game it was. It doesn't really compare it to. It's very much its own thing, which is what you have to give props for that, for it being pretty much its own thing. However, I think it as its own thing is bad. That's what I think. I think it's just bad. The gameplay, everything. Peckamon says at least No Man's Sky committed to updating and supporting to make up for it. That's very true. They did. So No Man's Sky did start doing that pretty late in its lifespan, all things considered. But yes, there are. It is considered a pretty good game now. No Man's Sky. Peckamama also says Kojima is overrated, but people don't want to have that conversation.
I'm inclined to almost agree.
I'm also inclined to.
How many of the Metal Gear games were actually good?
That's the thing. That's a firm interpretation because you look at some of the older Metal Gear games and people fucking love them to death. I think it's nostalgia personally, but who knows? Right? Yeah.
By the way, the boss that we just saw, if anyone was wondering, that is called Sepulchre.
Sepulchre.
And it's Sepulchre, as in like sepulchral smoky, because it's a child. It is a child that was I think it was.
Ooh.
Yeah. His father buried him alive in the garden of a hotel as a sacrifice to maintain a pact with a god.
Oh my god!
That is that child reborn to wreak vengeance upon his father and those who wronged him.
Now, so to find out the lore in that, do you have to look that up, or is this somehow is this somewhere explained in the game?
It is in the game. That guy we were talking to at the start before the boss fight, that was his dad, who was haunted by him.
Oh, okay. And do you find out more about it in flavor text? Because we're obviously not going to find out this is a speedrun.
No. You get it's way more as the game goes on.
Okay.
All the bosses in this game are children who died that way.
Oh God!
Who died as sacrifices to this elder god that possesses Silent Hill, but also Shepherd's Glen. It's the same god that the cult behind Silent Hill wants to bring back into the world. And they're made of sacrifices to keep it stable and keep it well.
That's what killed him.
Yeah, it's Silent Hill is kind of messed up. And every boss in the game is based off of that. I think apart from one.
That is freaky.
We'll get to how I talk about it.
That's freaky! Oh my god. I'm assuming it's the last boss that's not like that.
I can't remember what the bosses are in this game. I genuinely can't.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. Because this is All Bosses New Game Plus, dude.
Indeed.
I started to sneak peek before I didn't do this the first episode, but I was like, I'm gonna sneak peek the first for the second episode because I'm very not familiar with Silent Hill, right? Oblivion, which was the first episode, which you can find on YouTube. Well, because this is going on, these are going on YouTube for those wondering. I know that game. I played that game, right? I played that game for a while, but this game, the Silent Hill series, is something I am not familiar with at all. Thankfully, we have I was gonna say a resident expert, but that would have only worked if it was Resident Evil. Say a Resident Evil expert.
And I'd very nearly recommend Resident Evil 7 here, but Silent Hill is very on brand for me as a horror aficionado of all things, and Silent Hill has just got a place in my heart. So,
hell yeah,
I'm coming doing.
Hell yeah, it's those old games that like. How many people, when you ask them what's your favorite video game, say a game that came out within the past 5 years? You know what I mean?
I shouldn't have as many. And those who do are often the multiplayer games like Overwatch, like Valorant's got a popular one now as well. Like all these, like single player experiences just aren't what they used to be.
They're not. And if you do, and it's probably, what were we saying?
It's because they're relatively hard to market. Like compare how lucrative like multiplayer games like League of Legends, like Overwatch, like Fortnite can be, because it's easier to market a multiplayer.
They are, exactly. They are harder to market, and that's why I'm glad that even though I wasn't a huge fan of the original of God of War that came out on the PS4, I'm glad that it did really well because it's an all single player game.
It reinvigorates the idea that single player titles.
It does, and especially, which are my favorite genre of games. This soundtrack is awesome. RPGs. And don't get me wrong, God of War as an RPG is heavily streamlined for a casual audience. Heavily. And that's okay. There's just the fact that it might introduce somebody might say, oh wow, this is actually a really cool game, I want to find others like it, and then delve deeper into that kind of market, maybe check out some of the older games, something like that.
No, it's certainly messy, especially since Silent Hill was... they stopped making actual games for it in 2012. That was the last game they made was for the PSP. I hate the
Oh my god, I did not know that!
Silent Hill Shattered Book of Memories was in 2012, and I didn't count it as a Silent Hill game because it's barely even a game. But
oh my god.
I was hoping that with things like God of War, bringing a resurgence back into single-player games, that might be an incentive for Konami to sign off on a new Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
And by the looks of it, we might be in for a treat because there's been more stuff relating to Silent Hill in the past year than there has been in the past 6 years before. I've been keeping track of it.
Wow.
And there's quite a few things that are actually getting quite... It looks like we might be heading towards new stuff in Silent Hill's future.
By Team Silent?
Potentially. I wouldn't rule it out, but we don't know. We just don't know.
Okay.
There's been all sorts. I'd be surprised if it wasn't, because they'd be a huge selling point for a future Silent Hill game. Especially given how lukewarmly the non-Team Silent games have received. I think it'd be too good an opportunity for Konami to miss to bring them back.
Especially, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Konami did that, considering that for the past couple years, Konami has needed to save face.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a rework of one of the old, like, of more Silent Hill remasters or in remakes and things like that. I would not be surprised to see that.
Because they did make the HD collection, which was like a digital remastering of I think it was 1 and 3.
Okay.
But those were terrible. Those were shockingly bad.
Really?
Yeah. To give you an indication of how shocking bad they were, the iconic "Welcome to Silent Hill" sign at the front of the town. It's an image people are quite familiar with if you know anything about Silent Hill. The sign that says "Welcome to Silent Hill," frosty and beaten up. They did the writing for that in Comic Sans.
Oh wow!
I'm not even joking.
They got some like, hey, can we get some of the interns on this? We don't really want to work on this right now.
That's just how it felt. Is the whole game was just. It was a cheap cash grab by Konami because they were too busy making Silent Hill 2 pachinko machines and gacha games to actually bother making a decent entry to the franchise.
Comic Sans, wow.
I'm pretty sure I can find an image of it somewhere. If we want to overlay it onto the finished video, I can find an image of it.
Please do.
And send it to you later. But it's cringeworthy. It's absolutely cringeworthy.
Oh my god.
But no, hopefully we'll see more Silent Hill stuff because you've seen a lot of very recent work, like from third-party companies or like merchandise and stuff like that, to indicate Silent Hill is not a franchise they've completely abandoned. Like anyone who knows about me will know that they've the Silent Hill expansion for Dead by Daylight. The fact that they got
that's even a thing. The fact that's even a thing.
Yeah. Because to this day, I don't know how they managed to do it. Where they got Konami, a corporate like monolith who are very protective of their intellectual properties, to sign off on a whole DLC based on their games.
Yeah.
Based on including Pyramid Head, including Cheryl Mason, including all the skins for her, all that stuff. The fact that they can actually get those rights is astounding.
I mean, I'm sure it just came down to giving them a fuck ton of money, but because that's the thing. I'm sure there will be more Silent Hill stuff because as everybody who's familiar with the gaming industry knows, is that if there is money and there is an audience, chances are it's going to be made. And you know, especially for Konami, and you know, the fan base for Silent Hill is still thriving, right? I did some research before the video, and it is thriving still. And the fucking crusty Mr. Krabs eyes are gonna fucking pop out of Konami's head, and they're gonna be like, "Wow, there is still a market for this." And I'm sure they've already realized this, and something is in the works, like you said previously.
Because that's my theory. Is part of the reason Konami, I think, signed off on the Dead by Daylight Silent Hill crossover, plus other things like new merchandise that is coming out, re-releases of old merchandise. All the stuff they seem to be doing to try to reawaken Silent Hill in the public consciousness is to prepare for a new game or some sort of big new release.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to see what comes of that, because if they know that what Silent Hill players want and will pay very good money for is to bring back the magic of Silent Hill 1 through 4, then they're going to do it. They're going to pull out all sorts to make it work, because what will make them money. And one thing Konami's willing to do is to try and please their fans to make some money.
Yeah, especially now. Because for them, if they can get a decent amount of cash and save face a little bit.
Oh yeah.
If I was Konami, I get on that fucking ASAP. I get on that shit ASAP. Cheers to Silent Hill.
Hey. Yeah, what we're seeing here is Alex and his childhood friend Elle picking through the sewers.
Okay.
They're just trying to figure out where they're going. The game suffers from a lack of direction, I feel, which is a real shame. But
which I'm sure makes it fucking very frustrating for if you're trying to learn a speedrun from this game.
Yeah, it's not very. The story isn't particularly obvious as to where it's going. It's just Alex trying to discover about himself, which is both a fine thing and makes it get quite messy. Because it is the only game that's been like that when it comes to just protagonists trying to figure out who they are is Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill 2 is a blow your socks off level great story.
Yeah, I mean, and Cheryl Mason seems like a very interesting character too.
Yeah, she's a protagonist of Silent Hill 3.
Oh, Silent Hill 3. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, did his research before the video. Never mind.
I played the game. So Silent Hill 1 was about Harry Mason, Cheryl's father, and the whole story is about him tracking her down. And it's a very, very simple, very effective story. Silent Hill 2 is about James Sunderland getting a letter from his dead wife, Mary. And again, that's a very simple story. He goes to Silent Hill to figure out what the hell's going on. That is a very simple reason to go there.
Sounds like Taken. I feel like you're describing Taken.
Kind of. They are very family-based stories. But this is also a family story, to be fair. Alex's parents, Adam and Lillian Shepherd, also live in Shepherd's Glen, where he's going. But it's just not as... It lacks a lot of the meaning. It feels like he's just there because the story wants to be there. Like, now he's here, obviously, it gets very interesting. But
where is he?
You just feel a little bit more directionless.
See, now I cannot. This goes to prove that this is not a game I can play.
He's basically just going from A to B here, but
skipping enemies. It seems that the only enemies that he's actually killed were the ones that you needed to kill to like actually progress.
In sealed rooms.
Yeah,
the ones in sealed rooms.
Yeah.
Like they have that really spooky, like the nurse is coming in, like staggering out of her box, and then he's just like, "Ah, fuck you, I'm just going this way, bye.
Yeah.
See you later. See you, nerd."
Yeah. Child's Play. I like how there's a split called Shawshank Redemption. I'm actually pretty curious to figure out what that one actually means.
Yeah, I think they just named all the stages and the areas after horror films, which I like that as a
it's cool.
horror nerd. As a horror nerd, I love that the bits.
And then after the stream, we're gonna link the video and the speedrunner, and then in the video, obviously, in the link in the description, you could also find the original speedrunner.
There's magic words. Link in the description.
Link in the description.
They solve on YouTube. They solve all problems.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Feeling a little anxious? Oh man, I don't know if I could do this. The link's in the description. I'm giving them credit. I could steal their content. This is fine.
Oh, of course. T-posing for Jesus.
Scarlet Stall. It's.
He's doing
doing the wall glitch again. He's doing the wall glitch again.
Yeah, the wall glitch. No, and I love this. I love the Silent Hill franchise. It's I gives me a lot of hope to think that there's more coming. But part of me is a little bit scared because I worry they're just going to go for the same old formula, which is one of the things that made Silent Hill Homecoming not so good. That it just felt like a rehash of Silent Hill 2, but with more action.
Well, I mean, yeah, and if we've learned anything from, modern day industries, it's that they will do that. Whether it's a movie, take the Disney take the Marvel movies. It's basically the same movie and over again, copy and paste it with a different title and a different superhero, and it's the same thing.
On the Disney live action remakes. Don't get me started on those. I'll be here all night and I'll break my microphone and my face out of pure rage.
That'll be during the Kingdom Hearts speedrun. How's that?
Oh god.
We'll find a Kingdom. I mean, the speedrun for Kingdom Hearts is probably like 8 hours, but I mean.
Oh yeah. I need to be like we're up at 2 a.m. Haven't slept for 19 hours. We're gonna just do this till we fall asleep and die in our chairs.
Exactly. We'll do a little charity stream. 24-hour analysis of speedruns. Analysis, quote unquote.
No way they could possibly go wrong.
No, not at all. See, I wonder if he's just scoping in and scoping out over and over again, or there's actually. That's why I wish these videos had the splits, and then under the splits they had kind of like I've seen streamers who do speedrun, and they have it'll be a picture of a controller, and then like the buttons that they're pressing.
The inputs, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think what he's doing is every time he inches you forward slightly, so he's inching forward through the gaps in the wall to try and fall through the floor. Because we saw it earlier where he would inch through bits of wall.
I would be so frustrated if I was this guy.
To get to two levels, to get to the bit between the two bits of wall, between the wooden panels and the rock at the back, and I think he's trying to fall through. I think that's what he did earlier to bypass the whole level.
Oh,
man's getting somewhere. I'm going to give him some credit for that.
Barely. I wish I'd be fucking insane.
But yeah, this is the first game since Silent Hill 2 where Pyramid Head actually appears as a character.
Really?
Which is controversial as hell.
Yeah, I was just going to say
he shouldn't be in there. That's one of the reasons. One of the reasons that.
Is it an Easter egg? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, he's actually quite an important character. Because that's just. Yeah, that's it. I'll use my interpretation of it. Pyramid Head is a manifestation of guilt and a desire for punishment. And in Silent Hill 2, he's a symbol of Jane Sunderland, the main character's desire for punishment. Reasons why I'm not going to give that away fully because that'd be spoilers. But in this, he appears again as a manifestation of guilt and judgment, but for someone who isn't our main protagonist. So this is why it's controversial, because I think his appearance in this game is justified because he is a symbol of guilt, and he appears in a section very pertinent to that.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't like it because it isn't James's guilt. I think it's very specific to James, and think that any appearance where James is not featured is wrong. And that's the whole point that I'm disagreeing with my video.
And for those who don't know, can you give a brief TLDR of his more like maybe not TLDR? I mean, now that he's trying to fucking scope into this wall for 20 minutes, give an explanation on Pyramid Head and his role and who he is exactly in Silent Hill 2.
Okay. Pyramid Head, much like the monsters of Silent Hill, isn't really a person. He's more of a concept. Because Silent Hill itself is kind of alive as a reflection of the psyche of whoever is in it. So, in James's case, it is a reflection of his guilt after the death of his wife. And Pyramid Head is the physical manifestation of a desire for punishment. Because James killed his wife, he feels guilt for that. He feels like he deserves punishment, but he's repressed the memory.
Okay.
So when he goes to Silent Hill, there we are.
He's got it, yeah.
When he goes to Silent Hill, he ends up being haunted by this enormous man with a pyramid on his head with a giant knife. and eventually...
Not scary at all.
And Pyramid Head only stops being a threat to him when he realizes what he represents.
You got it.
Because then it's a depiction of him facing up to his own guilt. And realizing, no, this is what it is. It's my responsibility that it's here, and I need to deal with it. Silent Hill helps James to overcome and to take responsibility for what he's done, and leave his guilt behind, and acknowledge that he's done something horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's really heavy stuff.
Seriously.
That is fundamentally what Pyramid Head is. He's a symbol of James's guilt. He's a symbol of a desire James has to be punished for what he's done. But he's repressed it, so he doesn't even know it.
Damn.
And
so play that game sober, basically.
Play the game sober, and be prepared to take notes if you have to. That's why I didn't recommend it for this stream. I'd recommend anyone who likes psychological horror, anyone who likes character-driven stories, play Silent Hill 2. Is one of the best you'll ever find.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Silent Hill 2. Raikiri says, your voice is sexy.
Thank you, Raikiri. So
what is that?
I don't want to assume.
The British accent is very, and I like how we're talking as if you're not here. The British accent is very satisfying to the ears.
No, honestly, I get told that quite a lot.
Yeah!
It's very strange.
You need some help?
It really is. I remember when you first looked at your videos, I was like, oh my god, this is British. This is amazing.
We're about to see another boss fight, by the way. This is Dr. Fitch.
This is the only boss in the game who's not a kid?
No, this is the prelude to the actual boss. But this is just the boss fight about to start.
Okay.
This is one Dr. Fitch. Those scars on his body are self-inflicted. Because again, he is possessed with a terrible guilt. Because he smothered his daughter, Scarlet. And she's not best pleased about that.
Oh god, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, no. And this is a sacrifice to the god, right? Or...
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Hello, Scarlet.
Oh, what the fuck?
This is Scarlet now.
Oh god.
Yeah, he skipped the cutscene, but yeah, she bites her father's head off when he begs for her forgiveness. It's
I mean, I'd say that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that's fair.
What a shitty dad.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitty dads in Silent Hill. A lot of them.
The premise of Silent Hill games seems to be more so focused on guilt in general.
Absolutely. Well, it's guilt. It's guilt and family are the two biggest themes in the Silent Hill franchise. And this game brings them both together extremely well.
Oh my god, this is fucking...
Yeah, it's pretty. These boss fights.
Something about limbs, man. Lanky limbs just freak me the fuck out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This game, whoever made this game clearly loved mannequins like a lot.
Oh god.
Yeah, they've had some of the more ordinary designs for bosses.
It's like a fucking grasshopper. It's like a grasshopper.
Yeah, it's more of a kind of weird inverted spider. No, there are some really good bosses, really neat boss designs in this game. Like Scarlet is exceptional. Later on, we'll see some really, really good bosses. Have you ever seen the Human Centipede? You see, it says this on the list down there. One of them's called the Human Centipede.
Don't get me on that fucking movie.
That has a there's a good reason that boss level is called the Human Centipede. And I'll just leave it there till we see it.
What is it? Oh god.
I'll just leave it there till we see it. But no, it's I picked this game partially because the boss designs are absolutely incredible and the boss fights are pretty fantastic in my opinion. It's one thing this game. I think one of the underrated parts about this game, I think, is it's action heavy, but that leads to some really interesting and really cool boss fights.
Because if you're looking at it just as a game, as a speedrun, the gameplay, the boss fights seem very intriguing, but the actual gameplay, I don't know. Like I get. Just having any sort, this is just my own nitpick, but having your field of view skewed, even if it's for a lore reason, like the fog, for example, I don't know. I like to be able to see things in front of me,
That's very fair. Silent Hill's a very foggy game. There's a reason that Silent Hill switches between two different worlds. The other world, which is like, it's hell, and the fog world, which is just the real world, because Silent Hill's so foggy. Yeah.
It is very, and that's one reason why it's one of the games that I can only watch. It's added to the list of many games that I only like to watch people play.
No, it's a bit of an acquired taste. I've always thought of Silent Hill. If you're gonna use, I don't drink, but I've always imagined it as like a fine vintage.
Ooh.
Where it's like you have to get used to it. It isn't for everyone, but if you get it right, if it fits for you, it's sublime.
It's a unique sipping whiskey, if you will, to have in a glass with some ice to sip on over, kick back, take in the fucking, grasshopper little
especially
girls.
The early Silent Hill games.
What's up?
And then especially the early Silent Hill games. And then you compare it to the Silent Hill movies, which are like pure fucking moonshine. Those movies are not good.
Let's face it, almost every video game adapted movie is like moonshine.
Yeah, but like I think Silent Hill gets it especially bad. Like, because when I watched Silent Hill Revelation, which is the second one,
okay.
It wasn't even a horror movie, it was Power Rangers with extra steps. It was so bad. Like, because some of these games at least get the atmosphere right. Like Tomb Raider, I think, got the atmosphere of Tomb Raider right, even if it wasn't a great movie. Same with things like Sonic the Hedgehog, but Silent Hill just didn't even get the tone right. It just went, his character's popular, let's just dump them in and make up the story as we go along.
Yeah, because I don't think, they... especially... recent video game movies have been a bit better. And by better, I mean extremely mediocre or not as terrible as they've been. But, if you look at, like, the 2000s and onward to, like, 2010... even
Resident Evil, Silent Hill...
Yeah, all of those video game movies, you can tell that the actual developers of the game didn't really have much of a say in what went on in the movie, The intellectual property was just borrowed, and then they said, okay, hey, here's what it's about. I can guarantee you, for those movies especially, the fucking directors probably didn't even fucking play the game. Is that a lot to ask for? If you're going to direct a multi-million-dollar budget movie to at least play the fucking game? You would think. But hey, who am I? I'm just a small Twitch streamer trying to make his dreams come true.
Just a nonsensical mage.
I'm just a nonsensical. There you go. You could have said any better, Will. I'm just a nonsensical mage, chilling out with his homies in chat. Okay.
I can hope you see though that the atmosphere of this game, they got it right. I think. Like it looks the part.
It does. It does. it looks aesthetically pleasing for the game that it is, except the fog. I hate the fog. But fog aside, it looks very.
I just wish they could have dwelled in the atmosphere more. Like have some more puzzles, have some stories you have to uncover, rather than just using it as essentially a loading screen full of enemies that you fight before you get to the next boss.
Yeah.
This game is a story of missed opportunities, and it's both tragic but also great because you can still see where the good things are. It isn't like Origins, which just this game is pure unmitigated trash from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. No, it had potential.
Puzzles and games are a tricky one for me because it could be that I have goopy gobbly gamer brain and don't want to do puzzles. But
you said not me.
But I don't know. Puzzles and games. A game that has good puzzles, I think, is Dragon Age Origins, but that's because I'm a simp for that game, so I'm not going to use that one. Games like Divinity Original Sin 2, I think, those top-down RPGs usually have some pretty intricate and entertaining puzzles where you actually think and you get the satisfaction from beating it is, when I complete a puzzle in a game, I don't want to go, thank God that shit is fucking over. I want to be like, holy shit, I did it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And most of the time, I'm like, again, could be because I have goopy gobbly game brain, but I'm like, thank God that stupid fucking puzzle's over. I never want to do that again.
No, I get that. I'm a big fan of puzzle-based horror games because it's another way to get you immersed. It isn't just ha shooty gun go burr.
It's interacting with the world and the environment. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the best ways I've seen this happen was probably in Resident Evil 7.
Okay.
Where you have to get certain keys to open certain doors. You have to get the Raven key to open the Raven door. But to find them, you have to go through areas when you're in enormous danger. And that amplifies tension because if you can't sneak through this area to get this key, then you're a bit shafted.
Yeah,
and that gives it actual stakes that the player has to care about more than just the characters having to care about it.
And there's a puzzle right there for you. And I agree, there's a puzzle. Hey, look at that.
It's not a bad little puzzle. But no, the original Silent Hill games, 1 through 3, had a lot of very good puzzles. And I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them greatly, especially Silent Hill 1.
Do you prefer more, because I know that Silent Hill Homecoming is more so one of your favorite games. Do you regardless of puzzles being fun to be immersed with the environment and you're interacting with the environment, the atmosphere, and everything like that? Do you personally still prefer more of an actiony, shoot, gun goes bam bam kind of horror game, or do you prefer a game like Silent Hill 1?
I prefer. Atmosphere is always my number one. Like I don't have an issue with more or less amounts of action and more or less amounts of puzzles as long as it doesn't compromise the atmosphere and feel of the game.
Okay.
Which is why I think Silent Hill Homecoming is, I think, underrated because it preserves the atmosphere very well.
Seriously, just watching it. Yeah, look.
This level is called the Hell. This level is called the Hell Descent for a goddamn reason.
Yeah, this is fucking freaky.
Yeah, it's some next level shit.
Oh yeah.
Look at this.
And they have to really try, because especially games that were made on the 360 and before that, even that, maybe that's what 360 games, but older horror games, for me personally, it was a lot harder to get me, spooked because, like, graphically and what they could accomplish graphically at that time. So you need things like the atmosphere and the environment and all of these different intricacies of these types of horror games that are older to actually give you the spooks.
Yeah, because this here, the Hell Descent, is one of the best examples of puzzles maintaining atmosphere in Silent Hill. Because look at all the puzzle he's got to do. Is
the puzzle is in it's the whole environment.
Yeah, because he's got to find the masks and the objects that go onto the crosses, the people on the crosses.
Yep.
But that's just a simple find object, match them up with the person thing. But it's crawling through like generators and ventilation ducts. You're putting masks on the flayed skins of bodies nailed to crosses. it adds so much flavor to it and tells a story.
It really does. It really does. And it's. I wish games were more like that now instead of just, hey, there's the button for that gate you gotta open, shoot it with an arrow. You know?
Yeah. Well, like kill 400 enemies to open this door. And it's like.
Yeah. I was like, how did that? What? Oh, okay, sure. Is he doing the glitch again?
Oh yeah. He's trying to get his items on the other side so he can. Yeah, it's just force to the floor.
What the fuck?
It's welcome to the Xbox spaghetti hole at the door. I'm just checking the boss. Especially if the boss that I think is next is the one that's next.
Oh, the one that you mentioned before.
Nah.
There's the centipede. Oh no, that one's set for a while. Look at this place.
Unless they just misnamed, which is entirely possible. No, actually, no. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think they bamboozled me with these names, but you know.
The sound design too. I mean, for what it is, especially back then.
Well, of course, where I'm standing, I can't hear it, but I can.
Oh, sorry.
But I can. No. What is it? I'm sorry for it. It's fine. I've played this game at least twice. I know what it sounds like. But yeah, this is what let down the HD versions for me of the remakes they did of Silent Hill 1 and 3, because the voice acting is so cringy.
You see, voice acting though, there's a charm in the dumpster fire that is bad voice acting, I think.
Well, you say that, and then you play Silent Hill 2 HD version, and it's
so funny. It's so funny. It's hilarious. You gotta. That's when unfortunately in a game like Silent Hill you're supposed to immerse yourself and things like that, and bad voice acting does take you out of that. But that's when if I'm playing a game that has fucking atrocious voice acting, that's when I crack open a beer and I'm like, all right, let's get through this shit, let's do it, and laugh at the bad voice acting and just play the game for what it is.
Yeah, it was 1 and 2, not 1 and 3. I just remembered because James Sunderland, the main character of Silent Hill 2, is played by quite a nervous and anxious guy in Silent Hill 2 because he's supposed to be a neurotic and broken man. Okay. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you get his remake in Silent Hill 2 is voiced by Troy Baker doing his best action hero voice.
Oh my god.
Aren't you Maria? And it's like, no, this is.
I can only imagine. That's just another example of them trying to streamline things and make it more appealing to the general audience. Because
you're not Jason Bourne. I'm trying to be Jason Bourne.
No.
We can't all be Jason Bourne.
Because at the marketing table, they're okay. We're gonna remake this game. Do people want to play as a character who's broken down mentally? Or a character that they're going to want to relate themselves with, as like a fucking badass hero. Now, that's what, I'm sure that's what was going on in their heads.
It makes a lot of sense where it's just like, well, this guy voices action heroes and James Sunderland shoots a gun at least once in Silent Hill 2, so yeah, this makes complete sense. Cast Troy Baker, let's go. No.
That's the thing with the voice. I'm not going to get too much into that, but the voice acting market is so saturated. It's so hard to get into. I was lucky to even make the money I did voice acting, because it is a very hard field. And I hear people say all the time, "Oh, people say I have a good voice. I should get into voice acting." Fortunately, it's not that simple.
Yeah. Especially because I know that the video game industry is the kind of thing where it's like once you get into it, nowhere else will let you voice act for them unless you get really big.
Yep.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of voice actors who will try and remain anonymous so that they can get work in other places.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with actors now in big budget and popular movies. Look at Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter. Yeah. You know how hard he's done several interviews where we're talking about the stress, and he was a fucking alcoholic. He couldn't get a role. He couldn't get a role.
Harry Potter,
He's Harry Potter, yeah.
Wheeler, come in.
This is why I love looking at Elijah Wood. Because
I was just gonna say Elijah Wood. Continue.
Yeah. Do you know how many horror movies that man has been in since Lord of the Rings? So
A lot, but nobody knows about him.
No, like honestly, anyone who's looking at this, watch Maniac. It's Elijah Wood playing a guy with really bad mummy issues.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, it's really good. I think, and Elijah Wood is so good in it.
I've seen that movie on an accident. I remember I went to rent a movie on YouTube once, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but the movie I rented and clicked fucking rent 48 hours on, it was not the movie I clicked on. So, yeah, so I was like, oh, all right, and yeah, it was very creepy. Pekamo says Elijah Wood is not a good actor.
I think he has had the right role.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, when you rewatch the Lord of the Rings movies, you're like, oh, some of that acting is not the greatest.
No, but like, he is very well suited to horror, I think. Like, playing these kind of vacantly unstable kind of people. He plays that really
He's got the face for it, yeah. He's definitely got the face for a vacantly unstable dude. Not throwing any shade at Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood, if you say this, I'm not calling you vacantly unstable. I'm just saying that you play that character pretty good.
If you want, you can go on Elijah Wood, you can go on my YouTube channel and talk about how shit Ryan is.
Yeah.
Just be like, here we are, where Ryan isn't talking about how great your face is, Elijah.
Come at me. Don't at me, Elijah Wood. But here is the truth. Here is the truth. You don't want to hear it, but here it is.
Cyberbullying Elijah Wood.
Oh, God. What I appreciate about this is, besides the glitches of doing, like falling through the map. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty big glitch, but I do like it in speedruns where there is no glitches, and it's just kind of them trying to get through the game as fast as possible.
Because that's what a lot of this is. Like, all the boss fights are done pretty fairly. Like, we got to see the fight with Scarlet Fitch, and that was very, very good.
Yeah, it was just precision with, those weapons.
Yeah, just tapping away.
Yeah.
The weak points. Like, good old boss fights like you used to.
Yep. Is that Detective Tapp?
No, it is not. He's from Saw.
Oh, no, I know. I know.
That is Officer Wheeler.
I mean, because they all kind of look similar, or seem similar, character-wise. Not a race thing.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
I was going to say, like all the Black Officer dudes look the same.
It's because, hold on, let me prepare myself before I get fucking shut down and canceled. It's because they're all from lower budget games where facial structure-wise everybody looks the same. Every white male protagonist in this time looks somewhat similar, and even sounds similar too.
I feel that because that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it alongside. It's a common joke that all Silent Hill protagonists are the same, even for different people.
Yeah.
Which is why one of the reasons I like Silent Hill 3, because Cheryl is a really unique protagonist, and she's really, really cool. We're about to get to the human centipede bit, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, with the glitch, back to the glitches and speedruns, like, I remember me and Sircon Twain, who was in the first episode of My Nonsensical Senses, I can't even say the title right, say that 5 times fast. We did a test run on Divinity Original Sin 2, watching a speed run of Divinity Original Sin 2, and that shit is fucking bonkers. Like, watching it, even having played that game, I had no clue what the fuck was going on. So that is why I really do appreciate games. Well, I have speed runs, glitchless speed runs like this. What were you saying? Oh, you're fine.
No. Oh, because we got to the bit.
Oh, look at the walls. Oh my god.
It's dripping. It really do dripping there. That looks like a boss stage if I've ever seen one.
Puzzles!
Yeah, boy.
Even though he probably has the answers right next to him, but hey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's not a puzzle, it's a ritual.
Exactly. Oh, why would you stick your hand in that?
Just in case. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is a nice, pleasant place where lots of enjoyable things happen.
Oh god, he's probably gonna skip the cutscene because this is a speedrun, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know, Wheeler.
I was trying to time it right so I could get the introduction at the right time, but I fucked it up. It's fine though. Well, when it happens,
Retcon
it'll
it.
sound impressive, I promise.
Yeah, retcon it.
Yeah. Just
Retcon.
rewind.
Oh god, it's so.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh god.
Again, fuck my life. Never mind. I was not even bother this time. Don't worry about it. Now this game was criticised for having a bit too much fan service, like too much, like wink wink nudge nudge for prior games in the series. Which is, I think, a pretty fair criticism because, well, you want your game to give something unique, and especially because this game was also criticised for its action heaviness.
I mean, I think it's fair for the action is heavy part,
Ladies
but
and gentlemen, I give you asphyxia.
oh god. Wait, so what's the lore behind this one?
Well, she was the one who was suffocated.
Okay, hey.
Well, he kills her by forcing her hands off of her face so she can breathe.
That's fucking disgusting.
It's a bit. Yeah, that is 3 of the 4 child bosses down. 1 to go.
Josh, wait.
And this last one is very personal to Alex. It is in many ways his own personal demon.
Oh no, is it his daughter?
No, it's that's Harry from Silent Hill 1, his daughter Cheryl.
Oh, okay.
This is his brother.
Oh god.
Because Alex was brought up by the Shepherd family,
Okay.
who were one of the elder families behind Shepherd's Glen's existence, and they were in on this whole kind of cult sacrificing to the god thing. And the rule was every generation, one of the founding families sacrifices their eldest child to the god to keep the town safe. And that's where all these other kids died, because they were the eldest children of their families, so they were sacrificed. And Alex is the eldest child of the Shepherd family, so he was supposed to be the sacrifice. So his parents hated him. They treated him like a stranger in their house, especially after his brother Joshua was born, because then they had someone to continue the legacy, where their eldest child was just another sacrifice. But they deliberately detached themselves from him so that they wouldn't have to care when he died.
Oh god. Sorry, continue.
Except his brother drowned by accident in a lake before the ceremony of sacrifice. So the god was appeased by Joshua's death. But just leaves Alex as someone who hates his parents because they basically neglected him.
Yeah.
His parents were racked with guilt for how they treated him and for the death of Joshua. It's some heavy stuff.
See, even just the sound before for those watching, like the. Oh god, it's very like anxiety-ridden soundtrack.
It really is, yeah. Because he comes to the town thinking he's a war veteran coming home.
Are you saying my prayers fall on deaf ears?
But he's not. He's coming back because he's guilty about his brother's death.
Okay.
He sees it in his mind as Warby's actually been in a mental hospital for 4 years.
Alex has? The main character?
Alex has, yeah.
I don't need any.
Why? Like a
Coming out.
PTSD?
Yeah. And after what happened to his brother.
Okay. The mix of everything.
He can't handle it. He was never actually a veteran, but his family said that he was, so that they could hide their shame.
Oh.
Say, he went off to war, rather than he's run away because we neglected him. Because
So he wasn't actually in the military.
No, he wasn't. He thinks he is. He thinks he was, but he wasn't. So
Again, just running past all the enemies.
yeah. So let's think about this here. If you were someone who felt guilty that your brother had died when you were supposed to be looking after him, and that was the cause of your parents neglecting you, it was the cause of your mental illness, it was because of everything that had gone wrong to you, what would your inner demon look like?
The Exorcist, because that's the name of the split.
Nice try.
You? Joshua? I'm assuming? I'm assuming it would look like his brother, yeah. Oh, what the fuck? What are these guys on when they design the enemy design? Oh, there we go. That one.
Yeah, the Silent Hill enemies are universally terrifying. There's a reason why the nurses in Pyramid Head have become such like iconic horror designs. It's because of Silent Hill franchise.
No, I don't. Is he having trouble here, or is he actually inching forward into the?
I think he's inching forward into the front of the desk.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh.
He's jiggling. I think he's trying to use the gun to push himself into the wall.
But he keeps moving back.
Yeah, maybe
he's looking for a particular spot.
Maybe he isn't getting the angle right. Clearly, it works eventually because it's a world record.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there we are.
Imagine getting towards the end of the game, and then your character, instead of falling through the wall, just gets stuck or some shit. Oh my god. I mean, I know that does happen.
Or you get taken back to the new game screen.
Oh my god.
But no, you were right. It takes the form of his brother Joshua. And think about it. You had Asphyxia, who was the little girl who suffocated and came back as a creature that couldn't breathe. Had Scarlet, who was dismembered and came back as a mannequin cut into pieces. Joshua was drowned. Let's think about how Joshua will look.
Oh, like a fucking water hag from The Witcher.
Hopefully, we'll get to see.
I'm assuming it's not like a mermaid or anything like that.
It's a little bit darker than that. Just a little bit darker, you know, just a smidge. It's Silent Hill. You're not exactly going to see like bloody Ariel from Little Mermaid, there are we?
Ariel, that's the last boss, second to last boss.
Because it might actually have been skipped through the one human boss in this game, which was Curtis, who's an assistant to the. Oh, that's Margaret Holloway. She's not nice with them. She's the main villain of the whole thing, who's in charge of all the sacrifices. She's not a nice person.
Margaret, you bitch! Oh my god.
Soup.
He says, bitch! Bitch ass bitch, Margaret.
Judge Holloway. She's not a nice woman at all. And it was her child who was the first boss.
Oh shit. What a bad mom.
Yeah, well, because all the parents in this franchise.
I hate that.
All the parents in this game, sorry. In the franchise, there's some really good parents, like Harry Mason. Like, Harry Mason's a badass dad. But
I love it when parents are properly, you know, represented in video games. I really do.
yeah, Harry's like the only good dad in the whole of Silent Hill. But he's great.
Oh, shit, dude.
Like, literally, the whole plot of Silent Hill 1 is him literally going through hell to get his daughter back.
Damn.
His adoptive daughter. It's not even biological child.
Such a, I make it so much more noble. Such a simple concept that's been used in movies and games over and over again, but it really, as Todd Howard once said, it just works. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't use Todd Howard's word as an excuse for anything.
Don't at me, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. Very cool.
Very cool.
If you say his name 3 times in a row, I'll come back and make you buy Skyrim.
Say Todd Howard 3 times, then Skyrim gets released on another platform.
Oh yes. Oh, that's Curtis.
You're going down.
You know that Skyrim on the PS5 is gonna happen. It's inevitable.
Yeah, Mrs. Curtis, he's not a very nice man.
Ooh. Just fucking stun locking him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fatality.
You know, Alex doesn't seem like the greatest guy in the world either.
Alex is troubled. Alex is a very troubled guy.
Oh.
He does his, I think he's one of the more sympathetic protagonists of Silent Hill compared to like James, who actively killed his wife.
Shot. Rotus13 says shot? Exclamation point shot. That's not a command.
That's a suggestion, really.
It's just a suggestion. Oh, shot as in alcohol.
Yeah.
We
What
currently
did you think
famous. I thought it was a gunshot. I was like, what the fuck? Rotus13, thank you for joining the stream. There's a little bit left. 1 second glass.
Yeah, we should be.
I don't want to get up in the middle of the speed run, but we've been.
Should be very, very near the Joshua boss now.
It's a command run because Ryan is just always drunk. I will confirm I am at least slightly inebriated. One of my favorite words ever. I am at least slightly inebriated for every stream. 100%.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? Yes.
There's a reason. There's a withdrawal command for channel points.
Yes. Arcane power channel points. 30. Somebody. I believe Alina Malum already used it. I won't drink for 30 seconds. Rotus13, thank you for the follow. We got a little something in store for you when the speedrun's over. A little something in store. Reddit told me to bring the alcohol. Hey, man. Cheers. I already finished my second glass, but cheers. We're drinking Gentleman's Jack today. Gentleman's Jack.
And I am drinking water.
Water. He's drinking water because in Britain they don't have any alcohol, right? They got no alcohol.
Remember why I'm here again?
Well.
No, there's a reason that this section's called arachnophobia.
What's who is drinking in chat, and what are you drinking? I'm very curious.
Give us your poison.
Yeah, what's the poison?
Chat.
I am a Jack guy through and through. Puzzles, we like puzzles.
Everyone loves a good puzzle, unless you don't, in which case that's completely valid.
Yeah, that's me. I don't like puzzles.
You should see me playing Professor later. I'm an absolute demon.
Oh god.
I devour that.
Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain. I got it. I have a case of the Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain. Puzzles just... I'm just sitting there tapping my foot like, when am I gonna be able to fucking blow somebody's head off again, dude?
I mean, that's valid.
Well, it's only unless it's a story I for example, like Baldur's Gate 3 game I've been playing. That's a game where my Goopy Goblin Gamer brain kind of turns off a little bit.
That's fair.
Oh my god, I can only imagine he's so close to the fucking world record. And he's just sitting here clicking away at this slow ass puzzle.
Little wheels. Turning.
Oh.
It feels bad.
Rotus, thank you again for the follow, man. Much appreciated.
This is why I suggested Homecoming, because there isn't too much of this stuff. Like, this is the majority of the gameplay in Silent Hill 1.
When you said Silent Hill Homecoming, I was thinking like, okay, maybe just a high school guy who can't get a break.
It's a high school episode.
Yeah, high school guy who can't get a break.
I don't know, not quite. It's him coming home to Shepherd's Glen. And there's Joshua.
Holy shit.
Arachnophobia for a goddamn reason.
Oh, I don't like that. Oh god, the face on him just freaked me out. Mina Malum, you like how I performed in this role, Ryan? Yeah, very well done. Very well done, Anthony. maybe a little bit more screaming. You could have verbalized, how your character was feeling in the moment a little before when you were acting. But other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is the actual end of the gameplay, but there's just a lot of cutscenes wrapping the story up. This is him saying goodbye to his brother, finally coming to terms with his loss. It's a really heavy emotional moment if you're not watching the game played at max speed and laughing about how shitty the voice acting is. I'm
sure. Yeah. I love shitty voice acting. It's so good.
I'll have to show you Troy Baker as James.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, after the.
Yeah. Afterwards.
Peck a mama right as I'm about to eat. Lovely. Yeah. I was pretty hungry and.
All the meat architecture not so appealing.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Meat architecture. This game is full of meat architecture. Don't have dinner in this game. I actually got pregnant for the role. Really?
Nice.
That's called dedication. That's some Christian Bale style dedication to your role.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. And I admire that.
It's interesting because there are 4 different endings to this game, depending on actions you take throughout, like whether you let your mother die slowly or mercy kill her.
Oh God!
Whether you forgive your father or not.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We didn't get to see many of those decisions because it is a speed run.
Because they both abused their son.
Okay.
They both abused Alex.
Okay.
Oh wait, is it this ending? Oh. Oh, it's the ending I was hoping for. It's a shame. Because one of the endings where he gets turned into a pyramid head.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because he doesn't show mercy to his mother or pity his father. So he becomes an element of guilt and justice in Silent Hill, and therefore becomes a pyramid head.
Does he die in every ending?
Not every ending, but this one is when he's in a mental hospital. Where this whole game was basically a hallucination based on his guilt.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it's not a great ending. So I was hoping you get the pyramid head ending because it's way better.
Let's find that out. Hold on.
But yeah, that's Silent
Hill Homecoming pyramid head ending.
Yeah, it's pretty. This is pretty badass.
Oh yeah, so for the YouTube video. I'm just going to do that whole outro as if I fucking have a script.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of My Nonsensical Senses. Episode 2. That is episode 2. We have a Twitch. We stream. Isn't that crazy? For the people in the chat right now, they're probably like, you're fucking retarded, Ryan. Which I am. The Twitch link is going to be below, along with all of my other platforms of content creations, and we have a Discord. Feel free, hop in the Discord and just use the Discord for anything, whether it's chilling and talking about the stream or whatever game we're playing, or whether you just want to invite your friends in. It has Nitro plus or whatever the shit. I don't fucking know. Omina Malin knows, he runs it. But it's a good place to hang out. So
the shit post dumpster.
Yeah, it's a shit. But there are different channels. So you got all types. You got deep talk discussions. You got normal discussions. You got shit posting. You just chat different channels just to hang out with your buddies who might not even be a fan of the stream. That's totally fine. Just get them in there, hang out. Okay, it's a safe haven for me and for you. Thank you very much, Will, for joining. It was a pleasure having you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And that was the Intoxicated analysis. It actually sobered me up a little bit of Silent Hill Homecoming. Thank you very much for watching. It is a very sobering game.